Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to an awful lot of running, the late night show.
Sponsored by the United Nations Insurance Team.
Yes, indeed. Magnificent work they do. I'm your host, Jack Aleksander.
And I'm co-host, Robin Foale.
And I... Wait.
Hold on. You're not supposed to be here. We can't be seen with you.
Editors shouldn't be on the set.
Right. Yeah, of course, but... No, hang on, wait.
Now look at what you've done. Created a right mess.
Apologies to our lovely audience this evening. Just a slip. We'll have this sorted in no time.
Like hell you will. This isn't right. You're not Jack. You're that doctor bloke, Oliver What's-His-Face.
Morgenstern.
Can we get security in here?
You're... Jake, right? You're not a published author, you're the fan art guy.
Fan? Art? No. This has gone on long enough.
No. You were remembering.
I was only thinking, my dearest apology viewers, and of course, Conrad. We're ever so thankful you let us run this little show.
Okay, right, sorry, this little skit's gone on long enough. Of this all fixed by title's end.
Right, well, now that's over, let's get back to the show. Starting with a story from his man himself. Take it away, Conrad.
Once upon a time, the Time Lords were really clever people from the planet Gallifrey. But one of the Time Lords ran away.
Nope.
Hello and welcome to an awful lot of running, a Doctor Who podcast.
Woo!
Yes, there's traditional woo. I am Jack, one part of your hosting team. Joining me, as ever, the Mrs. Flood to my Rani, this published author, Dungeon Daddy, Robin Foale himself.
I'm shocked that you went for that one, Jack. I did not expect you to admit to being the Wani there.
Do you know
I
what?
thought I was going to have to coax it out of you.
I might surprise you with some things today. I might surprise you tonight.
Okay. So you haven't had any doubts then?
Oh, there've been doubts. But again, I'll get to that in a minute. But also joining us, as ever, our editor-in-chief. It's I wasn't going to say she's Conrad because that's just not fair to anyone.
Yeah, don't you fucking dare.
She's our giggling baby in the cradle. It's Star.
I'll fucking show you. I've got the power of wishes, bitch.
But yeah, no. We're here to talk about Wishworld today, aren't we? Which is the newest episode of Doctor Who to air. Episode 7 of season 2, written by Rusty Davies. Oh, do you know what? He doesn't write enough, does he? You know, I'm really glad he's back. You know, I'm really glad he's back.
It's just 3 episodes of new, unique writers. I'm sorry, it's too much. It's like, I feel like we just need a whole season just dedicated to... I can't finish that sentence. I can't.
No, this is really uncomfortable.
Yeah.
No, oof.
Put it back.
I'm sorry to inflict that on your ears.
But it is also directed by Sanjeev Pillai. I'm so sorry, I've butchered that entirely, but still. Hopefully Sal will fix that in post. She probably won't because it'll make me seem like an idiot.
I don't know how I'm going to fix that in post.
Do just like overdub it. Just be like, I'll be like, Alex, and then you're just like, ugh. Yeah, no, Wishworld. So, how are we thinking? What
I
are we
fucking
thinking?
liked it.
Interesting. Robin?
My first viewing, very mixed. My second viewing, better, but I'm still very cautious with what we're getting in the next episode. I've been hurt before with the last season. It's... But, we can get that far when we discuss this episode in full.
So
how about you, Jack?
It's a tough one. I feel like I haven't got an awful lot to say about this one. So I guess I'll just say 4 out of 10, best Ronnie episode ever. Star, run the titles. Credits even. Run the credits.
I was about to say, I've already run the titles. You're just skit and everything.
Yeah.
God, learn the format of your show.
I'll tell you what, let me do it again. Okay, let me do it again. And then we can have the joke, all right? Okay. I don't know. I feel there's not an awful lot to say about this one, personally. I guess if I was going to sum it up, I'd probably say 4 out of 10, best Ronnie episode ever. Star, run the credits. Yeah.
Okay, I ran them, but can we continue now?
Yeah, sure, yeah. I haven't got an awful lot to say about this one, because I'm going to be honest. Parts of this just bored me to fucking tears.
Wow.
I will say, look, we came out of, feel free to clip anything from our The Legend of Ruby Sunday episode from last year, Star.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely not.
But, no, I think Robin and I were just a bit more sort of dejected as opposed to crashing out at that point. We were just sort of like, oh, we've really enjoyed these string of episodes personally. And this just feels a bit of a real step down. And I mean, this is definitely a step down. It's better than the Legend of Ruby Sunday.
Oh,
but at the same
by
time,
leaps and bounds, yeah. Completely.
But at the same time, I say that it's like saying, okay, would I rather be punched in the face or kicked in the balls? That's how I'm going with it. Because I feel like Wishworld doesn't commit quite so many sins as Legend of Ruby Sunday. It's quite funny that Rani has a line about being, this isn't just exposition, when it's like, honey, technically you're right, but you're also out of line. It's like, Russell, you're not cute. You're not cute. We see what you're doing here, but it's like, yeah, technically she's right, but also at the same time, there's a lot set up here. There's a lot of things set up, and there's already a lot of stuff set up. It worries me that even with the reality war next week being 66 minutes long, it worries me that we're going to have the age-old Rusty Davis clusterfuck to end the series, where maybe not everything gets a proper resolution or doesn't feel, like it was earned, but we'll have to see, won't we?
That's my big worry as well, to be completely honest, especially as not only have we had the big reveal of, like, Mrs. Flood is the Wani, but now we've also got this reveal about Omega coming back. And it's like, are we going to get like a Spider-Man 3 situation where it's just too many villains in the finale and it's just too much of a clusterfuck? Because
I've had a moment.
Oh, she's had an epiphany.
We've had a lot by regeneration. What if this is the true meaning of Omega Free?
How do I kick her from the call again? 1 second. No, I you know what? It does make me think about, that maybe Omega's going to be the reason the ties to by generation. Maybe that's something that's going to pop up here. Like you say, Robin. I mean, what I will say is that look at me last week. I did a very public crash out on the Rani. Very much because people expected it. But coming away from this episode, I actually felt that Archie Punjabi and Anita Dodson's sort of performance was sort of like the saving grace of this. Personally, yes, I thought the Rani was the best part of this episode.
Oh, oh God, we're in Wish World. Um,
They got him, folks. He's cooked.
Yeah.
He's cooked.
Star just added sound effect of a cup just smashing on the table, just.
Oh, I've probably been doing that this whole thing. The moment you guys mentioned doubts, every time we say the word doubt, I'll smash a cup.
I doubt that.
Okay, maybe not every time.
Fine, cut that bit.
No, I will not be cutting that.
But no, I genuinely, I thought that in the same way that I look at episodes featuring Sacha Dhawan, such as Spyfall Part 2 or The Timeless Children, and don't really enjoy those episodes. Like, the second Sacha Dhawan is on screen, I'm invested. I'm captivated because his performance is so great. And it's the same thing here with Archie Punjabi in particular. And Anita Dobson, let's face it, Buster, she's been doing good work for a while, but she's not really getting it at this point now, which irks me a little bit, really. But Archie Punjabi is just phenomenal in the role. She really, really is. She's a great villain. She really is. They got to give it to her.
She's like a duck taken to water. Like, the moment you see her at the beginning of this episode, this very grim fairy tales beginning with her being absolutely ruthless. Like, my mum was mortified when she turned the mother into petals. And it's just like, oh shit. Me, as someone who doesn't know who the fuck the Wani is, all I know is it's enough to make Jack go ballistic. That's enough to shit your pants. Yeah, okay. You're a threat. Mm.
Yeah. And can I just say, Robin, you're getting a new title, King of Segways, because you so beautifully took us into our regular format going for the episode there. Like, Robin, round of applause, my friend. My goodness.
Well, I try. Love.
I mean, he's been around long enough. He's probably figured it out.
I'm just surprised he didn't forget.
Yeah, that'll be next week.
Oh,
yeah, that's true.
Yeah, but no, I think it's a really sort of effective cold open, isn't it? Having that, because we're sort of go like, oh, what's happening with this baby here, the Rani? If you know Rani from Classic Ho, you very much know her MO is about science, and this seems more fantastical, which feels like a sort of natural development in this sort of supernatural era. Don't play the theme song, Star. Don't you dare.
I'm just saying, I started watching it again this week.
I mean, it's peak, but still.
Up until season 15, yeah.
Yeah. But here's the thing. Again, I think it makes a lot of sense where, we have to look at Wild Yonder being sort of like a step off, a new point for Doctor Who, where the science being very much based upon, the universe being based very much on science was left behind, and now a universe based more on the fantastical has been sort of established. So it's really interesting to see her, a character who was all about the science, about experimentation, to go, oh, hang on a minute. There's a new thing that I can explore here. Very much looking at it with like a scientific mind as well, going, oh, hang on a second. I can really prove my genius here. I could bring back Gallifrey. I could bring back Omega, with this sort of power, this here. And wouldn't that just be really cool? Wouldn't that just prove just how clever I am to do this?
You're making me... Oh, sorry.
No, all I was going to say was it does a great job for introducing the character to new audiences, which, like, you said it last week as well, Jack, how you felt like it was kind of scraping the bottom of the barrel with bringing back the Wani of all villains, but actually it's a very effective opening. It establishes straight away that this is why you should be afraid of this villain. It's not that they created the Daleks or that they're like a super, well, no, they are a genius and the like, but it's like basically you establish this is why you should fear this character, because while they don't have an army, they're damn well power enough to be able to just destroy and conquer just through that, which is like, oh, okay, cool, show us that, establish who this villain is to those of us who don't know, and for old fans, show us how she's taken on this new aspect of this world, which is really interesting.
Yeah.
I never thought of that actually, Jack.
I like it as well because, like, look, I've gone on record before. It's very clear my thoughts on the Rani and how I think like she's the gulp shitto of Doctor Who. She's not anymore, in my opinion, personally, because I feel that whereas in classic Who, really the only thing the Rani had going for her was the amazing portrayal of Kate O'Mara, who, rest in peace, bless her soul, just absolutely did a fantastic role as the character. The writing in particular, particularly by Pip and Jane Baker, in my opinion, was just, it could have been better. To quote former showrunner, it could have been better. It could have been better done, really, But I think
did we do that joke last week?
Yeah, till he does. But still, it's still relevant. It's still relevant, Star. Okay, because we're literally talking about the Rani there.
Which leads me back to what I was going to say. Because when you mentioned the whole, the Rani wants to bring back Gallifrey and stuff like that, if I had a nickel for every time Russell T Davies has introduced a new Doctor, had their first season, they're on to the second season, they're traveling with a person of color, and it's ended up with a Time Lord / Lady Villain who wants to bring back Gallifrey in some form.
Yeah, that's.
I'm sure Kat's going to get a kick out of that.
That's the thing, isn't it? It's very it's like, Russell, stop copying your homework. Like, stop copying your own homework at this point, buddy. It's, I don't know, it's a funny one, but at the same time, it's like, it does make me think that the Interstellar Contest, the Interstellar Song Contest, should have been the Utopia to this being the what the Sounds of Drums and the Last of the Time Lords, but it's not. It's just a. Let's face it, that reveal at the end is not great, is it? But the character work they do here with the Rani is very interesting, in my opinion. Again, I can't believe I'm saying this, but genuinely, I do think it is. And I like the dynamic between the Rani and Mrs. Flood, or the Rani and a Rani, of being sort of, Mrs. Flood being subservient to her because she's the old Rani now. And yeah, I think that's quite cool,
It's definitely the performances that make it work. It's like the way she carries the part, the way she says the lines, like just seeing her flying around on effectively her own version of a flying broom, very witch-like, as that fantastic score is playing. I know I'm jumping a bit here, but that score is so good.
Yeah.
Like I was listening to that earlier just because it's so whimsical in that twisted way.
The Rani's got a really good theme. Like, it plays during that first scene when she's in the house with the baby and the 7 sons and the man and the wife. It plays, it's like, it's really quite chilling. It's really lovely. It is actually. It's quite good to see. And then before we even get to the credits, we'll get to the titles. I'm getting my credits and titles mixed up all the time today. Sorry. We have the Doctor and Belinda wake up in bed next to each other, which Nurse Doc shippers were, I'm sure, punching the air over, and saying good morning, darling, kiss, and then in comes Captain Poppy, who's apparently their daughter.
Here he goes.
Space baby sweet. She's real. Captain Poppy is real. She's
you
real.
You can now buy the Space Babies t-shirt available on my Redbubble.
Please do. It's great. I got many admiring looks at MCN.
Also buy an awful lot of running t-shirts, whatever's. I can't remember what I've said. That's also my Redbubble.
And the trans rights one.
Oh, and the trans more importantly, trans rights one. Anyway,
hell yeah.
Space Babies.
Yeah, Space Babies. What are your thoughts on Space Babies? Why is Poppy there? How is Poppy there?
I am so scared about what they're going to do with Captain Poppy. And I don't think
I know, because she's a peak character, isn't she? And Space Babies already is one of the best episodes of Doctor Who ever. So to see her here, I just worry that they're going to taint her in some way, But
the thing is, you go first.
Okay. My thought on this is, like, obviously I'm going to have to briefly talk about how she was referred to at the end. Briefly talk about that. How the Doctor was wording it was kind of off. I don't think it means what we think it means. No. I think what the Doctor is implying is that parts of his life that, Conrad would know nothing about. The Rani would know nothing about. Shit, and that happened with just Ruby, and Susan Twist was there. Well, we've seen all these different people, and the only things that are appearing, Poppy isn't from that planet. I think the Doctor's subconscious is somehow bleeding into the Wish world because he dabbled with the gods.
Could be. It could be. It could be there's a connection to the space babies that we're just not privy to yet, which could be interesting. Maybe there's, look, we've got a planet with currently no Time Lords on it. Maybe those babies were actually made in Loom's Star. You hear me out? Star, Loom's canon. Looms!
I will allow it because I like looms. Looms are a good idea.
Looms are a good idea. Looms are a fun idea.
Looms are so stupid they're good.
I know, right?
Hey, Robin, what's a loom?
I've no fucking idea. I'm waiting for you to tell me. I'm not going to pretend.
When a Time Lord and a Time Lord, I don't really like the Time Lady thing. I think they're Time Lords, aren't they?
When two Gallifreyans love each other.
Yeah, when two Gallifreyans love each other very much, they put their genitalia into a machine, and out pops a new Time Lord.
I didn't need to know about the Sonic fleshlight, but okay.
I didn't say it was Sonic. It could be laser.
Oh.
Although I suppose that's more like a one-time deal. That's like if you wanted to have the one Time Lord, and because obviously that would be sterilization straight after it, because laser wouldn't be good with it. So yeah,
have the child get the snip at the same time.
Yeah, it's quite cost effective, really.
Yeah, circumcision's now half off.
So if you regenerated, would it come back?
Could you we had this conversation back in the Power of the Doctor. Could the Master create a meta-crisis version of himself with the Rasputin's dick that was cut off?
Russell T. Davis, get on that plot line. Bring him back in the most
surprised.
way.
I'm genuinely surprised that Catherine Wheeler hasn't written that fan fiction yet. I'm really surprised.
Give her time.
She's saving it for the Red Twilight series. It's the grand finale.
Oh, God. I can't even say no at this point either. She'd be like, Jack, you have to do this bit. I'm like, what? Oh, no. Oh, biscuits. Biscuits.
She's saving it for the climax of the story.
See, this is why I like episodes like this, because I'm going to be honest. I tried rewatching it earlier. I was bored to fucking tears for most of it. And that's why it's lovely to have an episode like this, because we can just take the piss out of it and have fun. It's like Time Flight all over again. It's just not as bad as Time Flight. I'll preface that now.
The difference is, I really did enjoy this episode, but as you kind of pointed out last week, and this episode is very heavily full of references, and as you have called me, I am a clapping seal for that shit.
I'm sorry.
So I was eating this shit up.
Yeah. Well, look, let's go into the episode proper now, because we have everything's. I've seen the comparison here, and I'm going to be honest. I think it's a very reductive comparison again, where people have been like, "This is Doctor Who doing WandaVision."
No, it is, but not really. It's doing a similar wavelength, but it's very, very different.
Yes, exactly. I think these comparisons just become very reductive in what they're doing there. They're not really saying an awful lot. If you're just comparing one piece of media to another piece of media and be like, oh, it's this, you've really got to have a strong case for it. I'd argue that comparing it to Aliens is a better comparison, which even though I argued at the time it wasn't very good, I think that's a better comparison than saying this is just WandaVision or Doctor Who.
Yeah,
WandaVision.
I think the only thing you can really say that really compares them is, it's alternate reality.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's it. There's no beekeepers. There's no Agatha yet.
It was Omega all along. There.
Okay, we figured out that it is WandaVision now. It's confirmed.
It's confirmed, yeah. No, but look, I'll say regarding that, which I know is skipping ahead, what have you. As much as I'm sure every Doctor Who fan probably just heard my eyes rolling as the word Omega was uttered. I think, whereas maybe it's not going to do a service to Omega, particularly because he's now been set up just to appear in the finale, if he even does. But also, although it does a disservice to him, I think it does a service to the Rani, because the Rani's not an endgame boss. She's not a big series arc villain, personally. So to have her appear just to be a lackey then to Omega is, okay, this all makes sense now. I think it works.
Okay. That's an interesting take on it, and it is something that we have been bringing up in past episodes as well. My biggest worry is we're going to get Omega, and while we do have an hour-long special, whether or not they get enough screen time, whether or not they do justice for this legacy character.
Here's my worry, and I can see you got something in Star as well, so I'll come to you straight after, okay? My worry, he's going to step through a portal and there'll be some giant fucking kaiju monster that doesn't actually say anything and doesn't have any dialogue and doesn't have a presence beyond being, I'm a big monster.
Question is, do they get Brian Blessed to voice him like they did in one obscure audio book or not?
No, because the audio they used is from the Gallifrey audios.
That's
was
true.
it? I thought it was actually just from like Three Doctors.
No, I'm pretty sure, because I was on Tumblr like looking through all the thoughts and reviews of this episode, and someone pointed out that it's from one of the Gallifrey audios.
I don't know. I wouldn't know that. Gallifrey's only got like 12 fans anyway, so.
And I am all 12 of them. Fuck you.
No, there's you, there's Ivy, and there's 10 more.
Okay, I am the rest of them.
There you go. I made that joke, and I literally made that joke before Ivy came to me in my DM. She was like, "What do you mean there's only 11 Gallifrey fans?" And I was like, "Oh, it's a joke. I love you, Ivy. Please don't hurt me. Please don't hurt me if you hear this." So I think it works. I think it's cool. I think it's really interesting to hear that those snippets came from potentially Gallifrey style. That's really cool.
Potentially, I'm not going to say definite, but. I'm going to trust really cool. Tumblr, and if Tumblr betrays me again, this is 2012 all over.
Yeah, let's face it, But no, I think that'd be really cool, especially if they're using more Big Finish. Why wouldn't they use that resource, really? Let's face it. Okay, cool. The Doctor, obviously, in the morning, they're assuming very patriarchal roles there, aren't they? The Doctor is John Smith. Interesting. Living a life... thinking he's a human with the name John Smith. I'm seeing more Series 3 parallels. Are you guys?
Just a smidge.
Yeah.
Just a smidge. But also, I just want to say, fuck heteronormative couples.
Yeah, let's face it.
But which I can say later.
Yeah,
I can say
you can absolutely say hate later. But specifically, there's a reason for it here, isn't there? Because J.K. Rowling's fault. I mean, Conrad. Sorry, they come across very. And then the Doctor comes to the door, or John Smith comes to the door, and I will say his suit and his hat are all spectacular. I really love the fit in this.
Oh, damn straight.
He opens the door, and who's there? It's only Ruby Sunday.
It is always nice to see her again. I'm always very happy to see her, and it's interesting to see her as well be someone who's not affected by this world. Like I'm very curious as to if they're going to sort of go into more reasons with that, or if it's just purely because of her history with Conrad and her maybe knowing just how deceptive he is.
That's the thing. This is where I'm a bit confused, because I'm under the assumption that this episode is a bit like Extremis, right? But the only ones that are real within this world are Conrad, Mrs. Flood, the Rani, the Doctor, Belinda, maybe Poppy. But I was under the assumption that the rest of them were sort of not real. You know, maybe I'm wrong there. And maybe
Hmm.
and like the way it's, and then, again, I say it's like extremist because the whole point of that is people realizing that they're not real and what have you, and the doubts happen, or if they actually shifted reality. I'm not sure.
Well, I think it is a case of shifted reality. But again, saying this as someone who did enjoy it, one of my critiques of it is, why is Ruby just able to wonder why did Conrad forget about it? Like, especially after everything that little fucking that fucker does.
There was a lot of those little things. Like, I was like, well, how are the Doctor and Belinda there? Because the last time we saw them, the TARDIS doors were blowing up. And, you know, and then how is the Rani there? And what's happening? Like, there's quite a few sort of things which maybe just need a little bit of an explanation in the finale, which there's already enough things which need explanations in the finale, but I don't know.
I think that is one of the things that can be quite off-putting in this episode, is that it expects audiences to take a lot at face value, which is the purpose of the episode. It is meant to make you go, wait, what? Why is she in a bed? They're a married couple? Like, what? And then it keeps going like that the rest of the episode. And I do think that this is one of those episodes where you kind of need to have a second watch, so that if this is your first watch and you're still getting over oh, okay, I'm trying to get established with the world, trying to get established with the rules, trying to work out what this is, my own theories, I think that second watch just helps you then go, okay, now that I've seen it once before, I don't have that kind of, confusion at first, and I can sort of appreciate it a bit more the second time.
I suppose what I'll say is that I think the episode's got some great themes. It's going for almost like a 1984 vibe in this sort of weird created world, but I do feel that could have been the basis for an episode in itself, really.
Yes, I agree with that. Especially when I think the first 2/3 of this work really well because it is more based on the world. And I think that last third kind of drags a bit. And I think it drags because of the exposition.
I'm going to be honest. I see it. I think as soon as you get to the second act, the wheels are spinning, personally. And it feels very reminiscent to the Legend of Ruby Sunday, where it's just like, oh, can we hurry up? Like I said, I was rewatching it earlier, and I found it really difficult because I was just like, God, this is boring. You know?
At least, and it could be next week happens and I completely eat these words, but at least it's not going to be we spend an entire episode trying to work out something and then you watch the next episode and it's completely pointless. And I'm praying it's not that for next week's episode. I
suppose that hopefully it won't be, because by the end of the episode, the Doctor has done what the Rani wanted him to do. Yes. So hopefully we'll see a pretty quick resolution to the bring Omega back, thing. And hopefully he'll be a bigger presence then and be a, formidable enemy for us to face there. But, we've not really seen much. We've not seen many clips from the reality war, which I think is really good, unless you've been looking at leaks, which I certainly haven't. I know you two have.
Oh, God, no.
Then it leads.
I will say I did get spoiled. One leak did get through to me. I knew about the Rani on the horse at the start, but fortunately it was after I'd seen Sailor Song Contest, so I wasn't that bothered.
That's still annoying, that is, though. I'm sorry you had that happen.
It could have been a lot worse.
It could have been. Okay, so Ruby's obviously doubting. We see Mel quickly, who has about as much development as she does in Klasic Who.
I feel so sorry for her. It's like, oh, Mel's here. And she's gone.
Yeah. Oh. Bye, Mel.
Yeah.
Hi, Mel. Bye,
Mel.
Then the Doctor gets to work at Unit Tower, which is obviously, it's like United something insurance.
Unified National Insurance Team.
Yeah. Ugh. Just had me sort of, cringing a bit. Kate's there wearing some little glasses, and Colonel Ibrahim is making the googly eyes at her. So something's carried over from the real world into Wish World.
I'm not going to say anything because I've seen what some people say in our audience section. I'm just going to leave it till there.
Fair enough. That's fair. That's all right.
But also, fuck heteronormative!
Yeah, it's true. Yeah. But
I can't.
playing into that, and this is obviously after all the cup stuff has happened. You know, we had a slip in the kitchen where something happened with the mug. Poppy said no, she doubted something, and the mug smashed. The doctor says to Ibrahim that he's a beautiful man, and homophobia sets in.
This is why you don't deserve to be okay. I don't care if this isn't the real you.
But that's the thing, and it's very clear, like, you know, when we work out this is Conrad's world, it's like, oh no, I hate him even more now, you know?
Yeah.
It's very uncomfortable, especially when such a comment can be taken in different ways. And so in this day and age, you should be able to tell someone that they're looking good, you know, and the like. And for this world to have that kind of very 1950s mentality from the comments later about, oh, you know, be a happy wife, a happy daughter, happy mother. And it's like, ugh, you know.
Yeah, there's some...
Even the book that Conrad has hoped in, which clearly has influences, which I would hope that Russell T Davies approved that design based on a jab at J.K. Rowling.
That's totally what it has to be. There is no world in which Russell gets number one Juno Dawson and also gets Rose Noble's actress as well, whose name escapes me for a second.
Jasmine Finney.
Yes, Jasmine Finney, of course. Yeah, there is no world that he gets them involved and isn't using this as a massive opportunity to go, fuck you, JK. Which we've said it before, and I'll say it again, fuck you, JK.
Fuck you, bitch.
Yes. You know? So
eat your black mold.
Yes, absolutely. Eat it, scrape it from the barrel, and shovel it in.
Scrape it from the walls. That's where it's coming from.
Yes. True. But yeah, no, there's no way that is not a takedown, which is great because it is really buying into that sort of, you know, that sort of right wing, you know, idiocy or dichotomy, as it were, which is just there. You know, they see anything as what have you, and they'll stand there, they'll shout about it being for women's rights and what have you, but actually they're just taking rights away from all women. So
yeah.
Anywho, we got a bit heavy there, didn't we?
A little, yeah.
Let's go back to Doctor You, shall we? Let's go back to old Doctor You. I love how, can I just say, it's kind of slay that the Rani takes her jet cycle all the way over to Italy just to get some ham for Conrad to have a sandwich.
Yeah. And to be fair, I do love that weird sort of sci-fi witch's broom that she rides on, because that's exactly the imagery it's going for. And it's like, you know what? Yeah. That's cool.
It is. Like it's kind of cool and back to the Wicked Witch of the West, isn't it? You know,
it is. Like she came down in a fucking bubble, dog. No, but that's what I was hoping she'd
I guess you could say that in that moment she was defying Mavity.
There it is, folks. God, the visuals in this episode are awesome. Not just that scene.
Some bits are very good. Some bits are nice. Other bits aren't.
What are you referring to there, Jack?
I'll get there in a second. Can I just say, isn't it technically cannibalism that the Rani got ham for Conrad when he's gammon? Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Go on, I'll tee that off. I'll tee that off to you two. Go on. Anything you want to carry on there?
I think you've said everything we need to.
Nice, yeah. Okay. So the Rani gets to her big bone palace in the sky, which is awesome. You had something you wanted to say about this, didn't you?
Probably. I mean, I do now because it reminds me of I don't know if Robin will agree, but it reminds me of one of the Illithid ships in Baldur's Gate.
Yeah,
just a lot less slimy.
It reminded me of that, and it reminded me of a lot of classic kind of Jim Henson movies like Dark Crystal, a little mix of Return to Oz, these beautiful archways, that giant clock, the name as well, Bone Palace. That's rad as hell. That's very fantastical. And then you get these amazing.
I was either going to call it that or Castle Grayskull.
Oh yeah, exactly. But also there's amazing Black Mirror-esque weird sort of creatures at the desks, which just repeating numbers, and they're so creepy as hell. It's like one of the creepiest Doctor Who sort of designs we've had, and that whole set, those costumes, I was like, oh, well done, beautiful design work, team.
And what I will say is, why are the drones there?
I'm just assuming after the end of Interstellar, she just takes them.
Yeah. Oh wait, the robots. Yeah, I've no fucking idea. That's so.
Do they
random.
do anything on the episode? Really? I mean, they bring. Do they bring the Doctor and Belinda in? I can't remember.
They bring them in. That's it.
Yeah,
they're weird.
Kind of iconic, Slay.
Yeah, but like I look at them and to me, I know it's not the case because we've got Disney budget, but it kind of feels like we need some robot goons. Just find us something in the prop department. And it's, but no, I know that's not the case, but it feels very weird that they're used again.
It would have been funny if this would have been like a Pandorica moment where it's like they had like the robots from the Robot Revolution there, the drones from there, the midnight entity poking about.
Polished.
Honestly, with how she was doing, kind of jumping ahead, but when she's trying to jog the Doctor's memories, when she was doing that little show, I was fully expecting different things to pop up there.
Oh, I feel sorry for Mrs. Flood, the Rani, a Rani. I feel sorry for her. She's sort of subservient there. This is all probably based on her plan that she had. You know, she was the one trying to get back to Earth, and now she's having to be the lackey to.
Yeah, she's done all the fucking work, and now she's the kitchen bitch.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, which she has a great turn. Like, you know, when she comes as the police officer later, she's fantastic. Anita Dobson, so great. Then, really, really great. Of course, you know, and they have to talk about. They're trying to get the Doctor down. The doubt is what we're working out there. You know, it's not just they don't want him to be subservient to this world. They want him to question it, to think about what's happening there, and they're powering this engine, as it were, on the doubt of, you know, if anything, because the Doctor knows his story. Do you get what I'm going here? Do you get what I'm saying? It's like poetry. Go on, Robin.
It rhymes. But I'm sorry. RTD, sorry, can I see you after class? I believe you've been copying your homework again, you know?
Yeah, plagiarizing. Plagiarizing his other writers there and stuff, isn't he?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to cut forward a bit. Obviously, we have the stuff with Ruby meeting Shirley and Bingham and the horrific, you know, sort of little camps they have to set up for people with disabilities because they can't be in their society and what have you, which
again is another reflection of Conrad and another reason we need to fucking break every bone in that fucker's body. I'm not angry about him. What you're
honestly, because that's the thing, because they try to play it the bit when Mrs. Flood comes in to give him the sandwich and he finally has a break and the baby's there. And he's like, I'm just so tired. I'm exhausted. And she's like, oh, I know. They're trying to play it as if we should feel some sympathy for him. I feel no sympathy to this piece of shit.
No.
You know?
Get back in that hamster wheel.
On the note of that scene, I want to talk about the baby.
Yes, that was such a good reveal.
As soon as that thing giggled, my first thought was, drop kick that fucker right now.
I was like, wait, is this baby Neil Patrick Harris?
It reminded me for a split second of the Twilight baby, but then immediately when it giggled, I also just went, okay, cut to the scene from Deadpool 2 where it's him just standing over baby Hitler. Just someone make that edit.
Yeah, but no, I do think as well, like the whole bit where they talk about how amazing the baby is, but they're like, he's terrifying. Yes, he's terrifying. I was like, oh.
Mm.
Yeah, great reveal having the laugh there. Like, he chuckles. And I was like, oh, he chuckles. And the ha 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 ha.
Oh, it is a good reveal, because this baby appears at the very beginning of the episode, and we are left to believe, like, how do they play into this? Like, who do they become later? And for that to be it, for them to carry on this idea of the pantheon of gods, which I think has been a fantastic idea for these last 2 seasons of Doctor Who. We've had such memorable characters, and I'm hoping we get something else in the next episode with that, because I think that's such a cool idea. I mean, hell, we've got the potential to come back as an adult.
He does say, like, he's revered as a hero back in the Three Doctors.
I should have been a god.
Well said. So you never know. It could be that we're getting another classic Who villain being made out to be a full-on pantheon god.
Which sucks, because I found, especially with this series, because we've had original gods. I mean, we had Maestro last series, and that worked, but she had a connection to another one. Yeah. Whereas these ones that we've had this series with, like, Lux and this demon baby, they're original. It's fresh. It's new. There's something,
exciting, isn't it?
There's something nice about it. And don't get me wrong, I'm not going to fucking care if they turn out to be related to something, because I'm going to clap like a seal. But at the same time, I'm going to be like, you could have done the original route there.
Yeah, it's a fun place, isn't it? Well, but hey ho, it is what it is. Okay, yeah, okay. Here we come. Here we come to the Here we come to the things. So the Doctor's home, and he's doubting. He's sat in his chair. He's doubting, and this is something I should have been punching the air over, right?
Yeah.
This is something which after last year, which my favorite episode was Rogue. It was the episode I claimed. I love Rogue as a story. I love Rogue as a character. I should have been punching the air when the image came on that TV screen. But the fact that it looks like a piece of shit.
It's awful.
He talks about being in a hell dimension, and it makes no sense. It makes no goddamn sense why he's there, unless it's something where the Rani is trying to make the Doctor feel more doubt and does it there. But then why does the Rani know about Rogue?
Yeah, no, completely agree. And oh boy, on one hand, I was for a split second really, really happy and excited that they were back, because I love Rogue. I love that episode. Completely agree with you. And then it's set in the visuals. And, we've been quite lucky with visuals for these last 2 seasons of Doctor Who. And, we get it. He's obviously come back to do that as just a very quick thing, some fan service.
They literally filmed it right after the episode Rogue. So they filmed this and had it back.
Oh, wow, okay.
Chucked it in there. Like Jonathan Groff said to Shooty, I've just had to go off and shoot this thing about tables or something. And the Shooty was like, what are you talking about? And then it came back here. And it generally looks like they've like Jonathan Groff has like zoomed in through his dressing room in New York or something. Like,
yeah, it does.
It doesn't look great, does it?
No, that's what I thought. It's like on a Zoom call. It's like, okay, now add the effects that we've sent you. It's like, yep, no, that looks great. You sure? It looks like shit on my end. No, it's fine. We'll fix it in post. Oh, we've used up the Disney money. It's fine.
Star, you going to say something? Yeah.
Yeah. This isn't about the visual. I'm going to make a supernatural joke. Because if I had a nickel for every series 15 that had the main character's lover in super hell.
Super Hulock, it's gonna come at some point. It's gonna. It really is.
We will never fucking die. We're like cockroaches.
We will never escape it. But I will say as well, like 15's theme plays when he's doing the thing with the mug with the mugs on the table, and that's kind of cool. That got me a bit hyped. That piece of music is going to, and he's introducing it to Belinda. and she phones the police on him because he's having doubt, which is very reminiscent again of 1984. It's the thought police. And what I will say is that, go on.
No,
I was going to say
we
cutting
didn't-
back. I was going to say cutting back. We had Ruby, of course, describing the same thing happening with Carla and with Cherry as well, which is very funny. 3 times.
Yeah.
3
Carla,
times. Come on, Carla. Stop doing this to her.
It's like somewhat anyone takes like a time travel and moves something to the left, Ruby's life is just ruined.
It's horrible because she's got such lovely parents, and then it's just like we've seen this
Every
happen
other
twice already.
timeline, we will abandon you.
Yeah, and it's like 2 times. 2 times is like the maximum you can do that. 3 times, and it's like, okay, we get it. It's lovely to have them there, but not like this. Stop making them so mean. Yeah.
So then, obviously, the police come and get. The reason I've sort of skipped over the sort of stuff with Ruby and Shirley is because although it highlights just yet another part of Conrad's just basically being a twat.
Yeah.
That's what she does. It doesn't actually serve much into this episode.
Yeah, I'm hoping it's expanded on because I do like the concept that disabled people can see the actual fucking thing that's going on. Because fuck yeah.
It's very true to real life as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
Currently with certain things in the current government, things happening. And things in the past as well. It's it's quite telling, isn't it? And obviously then, we've met Belinda's mum in this episode as well, which is nice, and she comes and takes Poppy because Belinda's getting taken in as well, in with the doctor. And then we get the whole sort of reveal and the expositions, and I don't know. Again, as great as Archie Punjabi's performance is, I feel that a lot of this stuff is really lacking. Like I feel like there's so much of it is done to sort of just get the doctor to doubt, which I think is really good. Like, she has a point there where she talks about, some people said we were lovers, which I some people sort of take out of context there. She's not saying they were lovers. She's just trying to she's just throwing spaghetti at the wall, seeing what sticks to create a doubt there. I will fully, I really think the Rani is a great case for ace representation in the show, personally. And I think that's a really cool thing if they can explore that more. And, certainly in the past there as well. But I think she's
love
just
people. I love science.
Yeah, but I will say the second she used the sonic screwdriver to bring the disco ball down, I went, ugh.
I was just glad it wasn't a pop song because I would have loved it, but at the same time, it's nice that it's just classical, but then it ruins the need for the disco ball. It would have been more fun if she activated a spotlight chandelier or something.
I can just imagine that, with the disco ball coming down as well, I can just imagine an awful lot of Master fans getting very angry, being like, don't do, that's not your thing. You don't get to do that.
Kat, we're looking at you.
Yeah. And again, and she's going through all this stuff about things, what have you, and we having flashes of Susan. Here's Susan there, and what have you. And she's like, oh, but doctor, this isn't all exposition. I'm like, it is.
It is.
You've
yeah.
stopped. Yes, it's not exposition in the same sense as breaking out a slideshow and being like, yo, Sutek, blah, 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 stuff here. Timeless Child, Tetuyun, stuff here. It's not that. Because
but it's close.
But it's very close. It's very close.
I get it. Because this is a 2-part story. We have to remember that. This isn't just a standalone episode. This is the setting up stuff for the next part, which maybe the next part will actually be really big and really exciting now that they've gotten all the exposition out the way. But as it stands, it does grind on its heels. And it's just like, while it's more interested in the episode on a second watch for the world building, re-listening to stuff that you've heard once before and it not be as impactful, that's a bit of a, yeah, it just drags it. I don't know if that makes sense.
No, I think that totally makes sense, mate. Totally makes sense. I will say, I think the episode ends on a real sort of strong note. You know, the Rani and Mrs. Flood and Conrad and the baby going back through, what have you, and the doctor hurtling towards the ground.
Great cliffhanger, yeah.
With, like, literally holding onto the balcony and screaming. And, you know, we get the line like, you know, I have a daughter. Poppy is real, which we don't even really know the context of that right now. You know?
Yeah, that's what I think a lot of people are confused by, because the wording, I hope it's meant to be misleading. It feels like it is.
But
at the same time,
I'm really worried that it's just going to turn out to be that, yes, she is a Time Lord, and perhaps all those not time babies, all those space babies are going to be sort of Time Lords as well.
So talking about, dude, Space Baby Sweep, Space Baby Sweep, they'd be the best thing ever. Not only would it make Space Babies better in the long run, but also you then finally get the Time Lords back, which is, look, I have my way with things where I'm like, yes, I don't think I want to be seeing the Time Lords pop up every week, but I just like them there personally, and I think that's the biggest sin of series 12 is that they get killed off. We don't really know how they get killed off.
Yeah,
you know, and so I'm like, yeah, you know, if we can bring them back in some way, then let's do it. I'd love to see, you know, Lord President Eric, you know, and he can have the baby head and have the funny little mouth, but on a big final body, you know.
I'm just picturing, just like, I am President Eternal. Now change me.
I have made a doo-doo in my pants.
Is it like they still got the baby faces, but the voices are much older?
Yeah.
And it's like you get like
Rassilon speaks like Rassilon's just a baby, but it speaks like Timothy Dalton.
I'm just imagining now they get like Matt Berry in the booth. It's like, my God, it appears as if my pants have been soiled. You know, just it's just like, wow, I did not expect Matt Berry to voice the babies, but sure, okay. It's like that'd be Pete Doctor Who for me.
I mean, he voices an interdimensional dolphin in one of the SpongeBob movies, so I can see it happening. You know.
I forgot that he was in that. Fuck.
Great. So good. So good. It's so weird. A lot of those SpongeBob movies are peak. Like, it's weird, you know?
He's also in The Wild Robot, which is a phenomenal movie. Watch that.
Yeah.
Watch that. But we're going off topic.
Save that for my podcast.
Yeah. So yeah, there's big questions to be resolved next week. I think that's why we sort of skipped over stuff more, because this is very much it's the appetizer, isn't it?
Yeah.
But I almost want, when it's a two-parter, I want it to feel like an epic and to feel like a two-parter, or I want it to be two standalone episodes which work, you know, together. I'd look at something like Heaven Sent, Hellbent. I think, yes, there's a through line there, but both work individually, personally, in my head. You know? With this, it's setting up a lot, and I don't think it can stand on its own merits very well, personally. You know? Is there anything else you two want to say? Anything else you want to bring attention to before we sort of bring in go to like a rating and stuff?
I mean, not really, because like the whole thing is, this is a part one. A lot of us are reserving a lot of judgment for part two. So there's a lot of stuff for us to kind of hold on to.
Yeah.
I think next week we'll have a lot more view, and I feel like we're probably going to come back to some things in from this episode next episode.
Yeah, hopefully things will carry over and they'll make more sense.
Yeah,
you
and
know.
we'll also have a nice variety of views because you guys are watching it on the telly. I'll be watching it in the cinema.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Power to you, Star.
Yeah.
I said it on Twitter the other day, and I know I've said it before as well, but like genuinely, you are so brave. You have so much courage, because if I'd have sat there watching Empire of Death at midnight,
Oh my god.
I would never have swallowed the embarrassment.
See, I'm fine with it because I would sit through whatever just to see that title sequence on the screen.
Yeah, fair enough.
Because it is
To
the
be
most
fair.
beautiful experience of my life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, my wedding's up there, but
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you know that's a very funny thing to say. I'll tell you both an anecdote after the end of this. We'll get there in a bit. Okay, Robin, do you have anything else you want to say? Anything else to sum up?
just my worries about what Captain Poppy is going to be in the story and whether or not we're going to be happy with the results. But we've got a whole hour for this next Docky Who. I'm actually finishing work at a decent time for once, which means I can race home and watch it with my family when it airs this Saturday, which you know what? I'm always excited to just be doing like a family get together like that. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm hopeful. Again, I'm the optimist of the group, but I'm hopeful that it will deliver. It's got to be better than Sutek, right? Right?
I tell you what, look, before we get to our rating, let's just do a quick little group exercise here a second. Let's get a list up on the screen. Let's do this now. Okay, things that need to be wrapped up next week.
Okay.
Susan. Okay,
So
there's
Susan.
one. By generation needs to be wrapped up.
Captain
Hal
Poppy.
the Rani is doing this sort of stuff. Omega, Belinda, stuff with Ruby as well. Whether we're getting a regeneration or not at the end of things, are we losing Shooty? The boss, the Meeps boss, is that going to come into this here? Because apparently that was a season 2 thing. Conrad, the baby, the Pantheon,
yeah.
like, when you start doing that, it starts getting worrying, doesn't it? It's
Why did you have to bring numbers into this, Jack? My mortal enemy. Now I'm looking at this and I'm like, oh no.
Hey, guys, it's the patented Rusty Davis clusterfuck.
Yeah.
You know, he taps the roof of the car and goes, "Hey, baby, do you know how many unresolved and unsatisfactory resolutions we can fit in this thing?"
Wow. How about scores?
Yeah.
What does everyone think of this episode?
I don't want to give it a score yet.
Okay.
I genuinely want to wait until I've seen next week.
Okay. I can respect that. What I will say that if I did that, no matter how good next week's was, I would find this affecting that score all over. So, I will still give a score this week, and but I respect that Star totally.
Yeah,
Robin,
completely.
What are your thoughts? What camp are you in?
I completely understand and respect where Star is going with this, especially as whenever we go back and we do retrospectives of Rhodes seasons, we always do 2-parters as one singular review. I think that's the best way to do them. I think right now, if we were to review this, my first watch was a 5 out of 10, just because of just trying to process and follow things. My second watch started at a 7 out of 10, but then I just know that I've enjoyed a lot more episodes that have been 7 out of 10s in the past. In particular, just fun standout ones, which those of you listening for the first time, 7 out of 10, that is not a bad score for us. That's really enjoyable. For me, I'm sitting at a 6.5.
Okay.
That's my camp at the moment.
I made the joke at the start of it being 4 out of 10. I feel like this is a 5 out of 10. This is the mid, the most mid you could. I think of you look in a dictionary, you look for the phrase mid episode of Doctor Who, and there's a picture of this episode.
Okay, that's fair.
I'll say that because there are flashes of brilliance. Archie Punjabi, Anita Dobson being two of those. Shruti's performance at the end, absolutely being another flash of brilliance. But
Belinda running out in the forest and just screaming, my God, that was heartfelt. That was so good.
Yeah, but when you factor in a lot of sort of stuff that could have been done better, stuff that could be a bit more interesting, and stuff that just wasn't done well, just for a rogue shout out. Yeah, I'm going for I think 5 out of 10, but it's a low 5 personally.
That's fair.
Cool. Okay, let's head on over to the Space-Time Telegraph. So, Space-Time Telegraph. This is where we hear from our listeners about what they thought of the episode. So, we usually post just about everywhere, really. We kind of forgot in a couple of places this week because we're busy on the weekend, but hey-ho. It's not my fault, don't blame me. We're heading over to an awful lot of running channel within the Time Siren Discord server, first of all. Regarding the episode, funny lil artsy guy, admin, Jake himself, or Jake themselves, fan art guy has said, speedrun review. Wishworld throws us right into the action as we are back in 2025, but not the one we remember. I'm still on the train of enjoying episodes. This one feels very technical, and as said by many others, feels very WandaVision. More cameos and reveals were made, including one I was not expecting, but I do worry, can all of them be wrapped up by the next episode? Only time will tell. Overall, tables don't do that. Boom. Jake, I think you'll find that's the wrong episode. Boom was in season 1. But okay. I don't know. These Americans, eh? Next one comes from Joshua Carpenter. Lol, I'll just write it here. I probably shouldn't have read that part, but who cares? It's difficult to judge one part of the 2-episode story effectively, but Wishworld has a lot to like in of itself. Primarily the take on the right-wing fanatics' heaven it depicts and pieces moving forward within it. But I'm not as convinced of the overarching story yet. Omega is a great threat that we'll see next episode if it plays to its full potential, and the Rani feels like she's being sidelined somewhat from her own story. Wishworld is spinning a lot of plates, and I can't help feeling that letting go of one would help the story feel more streamlined and character-rich with its time. I can't disagree with that personally.
Yeah, that's a good point, actually.
Okay, next one comes from Enemy of the Podcast. Ominous music begins. Catherine Wheeler. Dear friends, I don't give a flying, flapping, skydiving fuck about Russell's cut and paste master substitute and her gay leather jacket dress fucking thing. How far can you really go to save that dialogue? Poor Archie Punjabi. Varda really did some miracle work in this episode. As a different character to Belinda, why do we only have 5 out of 8 episodes of Belinda behaving like her character? I found it fucking hilarious. The most words Colonel Ibrahim has spoken to be homophobic, because that is a gay man. I also found Rogue calling the Doctor from Hell hilarious. How is he doing that? Is he in Super Hell like Castiel from Supernatural? Hey! Why is he still there? Why is the Doctor hung up on a one-night stand and wears a wedding ring for him? Who cares anymore? I'm waiting statistically to see what Omega looks like if he does ever even appear. It's either a big CGI cat or a spider or something shit that roars instead of talks, or a man RTD has shagged.
Wow!
Oh!
Wow!
I'm so tired of this approach to the show. It's so stale. It doesn't bring me joy. I don't sit there clapping at my screen anymore because they made a reference. The purpose of rebooting the seasons is so new viewers and old can start again with a fresh approach to Doctor Who. The Rani, a flashback clip show, and a finale hinged on Omega are not bad. Please, for fuck's sake, do something to make this into a show that new viewers can pick up. I want to talk about the show I like or tangentially do it with my loved ones without having to apologise to them for episodes they can't understand. If someone could give me an expose-all documentary of all the ways this went wrong behind the scenes, I'd watch the shit out of it. Until then, I live in fantasy fan series land. Lots of love. Smooches also. Not on the lips unless you ask nicely. Cat. Thank you, Cat.
She drew blood in that. Bloody hell.
Dang.
She is the master of her craft.
Damn straight.
Yeah. I'm going to open the Hellscape now.
No, you're not. No, you're not.
Why?
Get back there. Nat wrote one too.
Oh, okay. Yes, Nat. Also
Apologize.
said, sorry, Nat. Sorry, I didn't see that bit because I saw them writing something else about something else. Nat has said, I thought the episode was mediocre. The Rani was super hot. But dropping a disco ball made her way too much like the Master. I'm not a fan of Kate and her boyfriend together because she deserves to be a lesbian. But I'm looking forward to more Rani content so I can continue thirsting. Lovely.
Okay, now you can move on.
Okay, Hellscape time. Twitter. Okay.
The hell
James Foale.
dimension.
Yeah, the super hell dimension. Yeah.
Yes.
It's an underverse beneath the underverse. Okay, so Jamie D. Slough at JD Slough says, I thought the first 35 to 40 minutes were surprisingly enjoyable. However, it completely shat the bed in those last few minutes. No, Jamie, it's shitting the bed next week. Come on, give it a chance. It threw show don't tell out the window, and I fear for all the casual/new fans who have no idea who Omega is, who are now asking why they should care.
That's me.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I can't wait. Do you know what? I wasn't going to watch the Rani episodes with you, but I'll watch the 3 Doctors with you happily.
Oh, I'd do that. Yeah, why not?
Yeah. Hell,
Would
I'll
you
even
watch
watch Arc of Infinity. There it is. Okay. Actually, that would make sense because it follows on for Time Flight. So, hey, there we go. There's an episode in the future. Yeah. Okay, next one comes from Josh Coy 23. Very trippy, great One Division-esque concept. They keep fucking saying it. The 2 Ranis were great. Together, the second act really struck a chord with me, and that ending, I'm buzzing for next week. It's lovely to see some positivity here for stuff, particularly when we're not feeling it ourselves. It's lovely to see other people having that.
Also, can we just mention a little shout out to Josh? Because didn't he get on this morning recently?
He did indeed, yes.
Yeah.
Indeed, yeah. Massive shout out.
Yeah,
Josh is someone everyone should follow. I mean, Josh Coy is just such a positive and lovely person. Please. Not also to mention a phenomenal voice actor as well. So
absolutely.
Yeah. Next one comes from Andre at Pridodian06. I didn't know what to expect, but I was blown away. Nice surprise cameo on TV and the revelation. Oh my God, I chose that carefully. Also, the audio for that character comes from Big Finish's Gallifrey Intervention Earth. So there you go. You're right.
I told you guys.
It's fine.
I feel like the office
Star.
meeting where I've got the string and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. Next one comes from Sue C at Sue C1907. And we've got the most we've had from Twitter for a while this week.
Damn.
Sue says, I loved it. Loving this series and don't want it to end. Next one comes from Cold Frostbite. I love it. It was actually so good. I wanted to know what was next. Such a cool concept to very Doctor Who. So, okay, fair enough.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. And then the last one comes from Andrew. He says here, visually fantastic. The Rani A+++. Ending great, but I hate stories where everything is different and someone knows that this is not the right. But no one believes them. But no one believes them. No matter how different the story is, it's always the same. Like the Family of Blood two-parter. I love the end when the Doctor is the Doctor, but up until then, I can't really stand it. Ouch. I watch Doctor Who for the Doctor, not John Smith. And like I mentioned before, no matter how different they try to make the story, it's the same set of screens, situations, and beats, just changed around a little. Every sci-fi and fantasy series does it, and I hate it because it always has to be the same. And it's just uncomfortable to sit through. Fair enough. I think that's very valid. I think it's a trope that's been explored a lot, isn't it? You know,
even within Doctor Who. But it's interesting, all these reviews, and it's good to hear people being positive about this episode, because that's what we want out of Doctor Who at the end of the day. We want people to look forward to the next episode and to enjoy it, and hopefully the reality will deliver that.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think I don't want to dislike Doctor Who.
Oh God, no.
It's my favorite show. I want to love it. So, I look at particular eras where I've not enjoyed it as much and other people have, and I don't think, oh, fuck them for liking it. I think, oh my God, I wish I was you. I'm so jealous that you're enjoying this.
I think that's a really good outlook, honestly.
Yeah. Okay, we've got 2 more on YouTube now. So first one comes from @MainStager. I really enjoyed this episode, but it felt like more like a prelude to a 2-parter as opposed to part 1. Yeah, I can see that. I can definitely see that. I think this might have been better as being like the sort of like the utopia inciting thing into a 2-parter finale. But hey ho. Next one comes from usual commenter, CR Pal Stuck. So the Rani finds a magic wishing baby that I guess is a god, so she can bring back the most washed up character in all Doctor Who. Omega?
Wow.
Sigh. Okay then. I don't know, CR Pal. I'd argue that Rani was the most washed up character, personally. But they made me like the Rani here a bit. So hey, they couldn't ruin her, could they? They could only make her better in my head. So I do like how Conrad's vision of a world that doesn't make sense by forcing gender stereotypes, making gay people illegal, and forcing disabled people to be homeless because they don't fit into the vision of the world mirrors how stupid conservatives' talking points and vision of the world is. But that's about the most interesting part of the episode. This is another Empire of Death type finale where the first part is basically nothing but set up to bring back a big bad and is already extremely tired to me. I feel like the Rani's plan here makes no sense. For the Rani as the character, bringing back Omega feels like a very master move. It really feels like Ruby was initially going to have the role that Belinda had until the script had to be rewritten for 2 different parts, down to Belinda's mom and grandma showing up feeling like they were initially filled by Carla and Cherry Sunday. And Poppy actually have interacted with Ruby. I feel the same way I did towards the end of the Chibnall era, just tired of Who doing nothing really of substance and leaning heavily on nostalgia. Maybe Doctor Who does need a bit of time off air just to refresh and try new things. Hey, there's a conversation there to be had, isn't there?
I think there is. Yeah. I think I know we are going to have to wait a long time for the next season of Doctor Who. Hopefully that gives them time to sort of look at the reviews for these last 2 seasons, the good, the bad, the ugly, and go, okay, we have had a number of episodes back to back that have been stellar, but we have also made some stumbles. How can we take those elements that people loved and make it better for next future seasons?
Yeah, exactly. We're about to come to the Thomas Beach email, but there's something I want to ask you both just before we get to the end. Okay. So remind me once I finish this one before I get to the Can Buster, okay?
Okay.
So this one comes from regular commenter and the lovely, amazing, delightful Thomas Beach. Hello, Jack, Robin, and our shining star. Wish World was certainly an episode of all time. Positives first, I adore the 1950s, 60s vibe. The set work, the soundtrack was remarkable. The whole setting gave The Prisoner or One Division vibes. Guys, stop it. Just stop it. One Division was good. Okay, One Division was actually good. The dissonance of such pleasantness with the fascist. Oh my goodness, I'm getting so many tongue twister words tonight. The dissonance of such pleasantness with the fascistic undertones is something that only sci-fi can really achieve. Performance-wise, Ncuti gives such a solid performance as John Smith, almost Truman Show-esque, a man whose world is falling apart. I just wish that there was more time to this. It felt like reheated human nature, as this finale is just hemorrhaging runtime to balance out so much. Yeah, this episode does feel like Russell reheating his own nachos 3 times over, doesn't it? That's me saying that, not Thomas. This is so evident with Belinda, who just has been such a letdown in the latter half of the series. Reducing her to the submissive wife stereotype just robs her of the development she had from episodes 1 to 3. Her lack of runtime and agency to get back home as the series progresses has been so painful to see when she had so much potential. My fingers are crossed for more Belinda in the finale. Meanwhile, it still feels like Ruby's series and arc. It's great to see more of Millie, though I just can't help but feel miffed that despite getting a full arc last series, she's getting more crumbs and comes at a cost of sidelining the current companion. It just feels off. It's like the Rose flashbacks in series 4, but at a grander scale. Hey, no, let's not badmouth those. They're just a little touch, all right? They're not. Thomas, we're good friends here. That's not Fallout over Series 4, okay? I think an incredible inclusion, no matter how this finale turns out, is Archie Punjabi's Rani. Oh my goodness, she serves. Riding a hovercraft for some ham. Absolute queen behavior. While at first I was dubious of her plan, especially her huge expedition dump, but on rewatches, especially with some deeper thoughts, yeah, I appreciate her plan. It does feel like a science experiment where she is full on fuck it, let's see what happens, driven to the absolute edge, breaking a whole reality apart to see how it works. Like an enthusiast tearing down a brand new iPhone. As for the huge implications of Omega, I'm just a little steamed I have to watch Arc. Oh, I'm just a little steamed I have to watch Arc of Infinity for the first time as homework. You don't have to. You don't have to. Don't do it, Thomas. Just watch the 3 Doctors and listen to Omega and maybe the Gallifrey ones. You know, let's face it, they do more sales. There's only, if you listen, it'll make 13 fans, okay? And Gallifrey will be happy for that. Similar to Sutek, I have high expectations for how they're going to portray such a huge villain and figure of Doctor Who's canon. I'm utterly intrigued by Omega, how Omega will be portrayed. The closing moments of the episode had Stephen Thorne's incredible voice in the archive. Will he be corporeal? Will he have a body with Thorne's voice? I'm scared, frankly. As for Poppy, I just no idea where things are going. I'm afraid to speculate, which is such a strange thing to have. Overall, I think it's a solid 7 out of 10. It's an intriguing part 1. It's currently somersaulting. Will it stick the landing? Okay. Lisa Marie's thoughts. It's taken a couple of rewatches to even try and understand what's going on. It's had more of an impact on fans who are aware of Classic Who, though there's nothing wrong with a little Doctor Who homework. Again, I like the flashbacks to the other Doctors and seeing Kate O'Mara's Rani appearance on widescreen. It's a great way of keeping the legacy of Doctor Who alive and well. As for the story itself, again, we have another discrimination angle, this time on the more overtly disabled with Shirley. It's sadly not surprising, being this is Conrad's world and his views on disability. Here's hoping he gets some proper punishment. Loved seeing Rogue again. Such a fun little cameo, and the behind-the-scenes feature was great. I'm just truly hoping that all these characters, Mel, Kate, Shirley, Ruby, Belinda, Poppy, Mrs. Fudd, the Rani, the God Baby, Susan Triad, Susan Foreman. Oh my God, that when you actually list them like that, it's a bit like, there's just so much going on. It feels like jungling keys. I'm hoping this all ends up much better than last series' finale. If this is to be Ncuti's last series, I'm praying he has the send-off he deserves. We'll be in the cinema watching this, and everyone around us will be hearing my disappointment. I didn't love this episode, so part 2 is hanging in the balance. Okay. Yeah. Very nice. Surprise Peter Beach cameo.
Oh,
yeah, Pete Beach is in again. Wishworld. I don't have any wishes. I have hope. I have hopes that the next episode, in the first minute, is going to explain what happened in the last episode. I've seen this episode before. It's called The Truman Show. I love the cups and mugs. My idea of paradise to open a cupboard to see all the mugs one cover and level, rather than going on a mission impossible to balance them out. In fact, I've changed my mind. This wasn't Truman. This was Cat in the Hat, the good one with Mike Myers. Is that really how we're distinguishing that one now?
Wow. Okay.
Each to their own. I like the bones. Bones are good. Not quite sure what species of dinosaur they were though. Shooty's suit was nice. I have one similar, and it did take me until the last minute of the episode to realize the Doctor's baby was Captain Poppy. When the Rani was going into the big bone ship, I was trying to work out if it was a play on Flash Gordon or Wicked Witch of the West. Don't get me wrong, I like a good mystery, and yes, I am one of those people that can figure it out. But it did take quite a while for me to catch on what was going on. I like them rubber fingers, counting the numbers on that. I think they should have been lower. I didn't like the drippy bits. So my question is, are the fingers connected to the desk, or is the desk connected to the fingers? And then what happens if they want to scratch their nose?
Asking the important questions.
This is becoming one of my favourite things. Like, please let this carry on. Going back to the kitchen set, I'm sure them kitchen floors and cupboards would have had asbestos. Definitely them kitchen floors. And I like the star and roll in the tent city of the Van Gogh tent with both ends removed. Excellent for communal living, although points deducted for no tent pegs. Rating out of 10. I'll give it 6.8 out of 10. However, I just remembered the Seal of Rassilon. Massive thanks for hearing us out again, guys. We're all on the edge of our seats for this weekend. The anticipation of my first Doctor Who cinema trip since 2013 for the Reality War. There's so much on the shoulders. Thomas, Mad Beach, Lisa Marie, and Pete. Genuinely, what is actually running around in this head beach? Beautiful.
That's wonderful that we get the whole family involved. And
now that's out of the way. Thomas, funnily enough, has just posted in the Time Zone server talking about the latest bit of merch from Forbidden Planet, which is a t-shirt with Conrad saying, "Are you ready for Mayday?"
No. Oh, for goodness sake.
Are you...
I'm not kidding. You can look. It's in the Docky Hooms chat on the Times Orange channel.
Oh, come on, guys. Why would you do that? No one wants to wear... Oh, actually, I can make a really funny joke about this on Twitter in a minute, which I will do. But that's all right. I'll get there. What was I going to say? Okay. So the thing I was going to say actually works very well here, because it carries on from something that Lisa Marie was saying there. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't know realistically when the next series of Doctor Who was going to come out.
Okay.
Could be coming out in 2017. Not 2017, 2027.
Yeah, 2017 is when we had to peak.
Probably later. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Shooty's obviously doing a run in the theatre for most of the year. I'm going to ask you both now the question before next week, before we potentially get something on this, because we might have a Fade to Black regeneration. Is he out? In your head, is Shooty gone?
I don't know.
That's
genuinely
fair.
Don't know.
That's fair.
There's a lot saying yes, he is, especially after recent events with the whole he dropped out of Eurovision. But there's a lot of stuff saying he seems happy to still be here. There was a recent
with the
with the recent Barbie doll drops. He's looked really happy. It's hard to gauge. I think he will be staying. I think they're just gonna have to deal with a gap. I'm really hoping he does because we haven't had the Dalek episode, and that's one of the things he's asked for.
Yeah.
And he deserves it. He's been a phenomenal Doctor.
He has been a fantastic ambassador for the show, hasn't he? Like, you see him in interviews and stuff. He's just so... He is the Doctor. He really is.
Yeah.
It's so great to see. Robin, what are your thoughts?
I
know, and do you know what? I'm asking this now because it's interesting, because where we were when yourself and I were on Josh Carr's show, Who Knew, Josh asked us both this question as well. And I had this very sort of flippant answer, and you were very hopeful. What are you thinking now, bud?
I'm usually the optimist. I'm kind of a bit going on the other side of the scale here, actually, where I'm thinking we've got this extra long episode, which I think is great for a season finale. I almost feel as if more season finales should be longer. But the writing is kind of on the wall. I'm kind of leaning towards the fact that we're not going to see a regeneration at the end of this episode. I think something's going to happen that gives the Doctor a near-death experience, and it may be that the next time we see Ncuti is kind of like a farewell episode, or maybe a farewell, like, couple of episodes akin to Flux, where it's like him sort of just holding off his regeneration into that, just so as they get him back, maybe get him back for a Dalek episode or something.
Let's face it, it'd be easier if they did say 3 specials, because they can knock them out a bit quicker than a series. They could do the Tenant route, couldn't they? Maybe that,
I think that's realistic. Yeah, because he's smart. He's using this series as a springboard for the rest of his career, which obviously he loves this show, but he's also been smart in doing other things, which good on him. He's an incredibly talented actor.
I think he's gone. I've been saying it for a while, and there have been many factors. There's ones I have spoken about before. There's ones which I can't speak about, but there's many things that are making me think, yeah, he's not sticking around. And it makes me really sad to hear, to say that and to think that, but it's just where we are,
Still.
Time. Anyway, time for the Can Buster.
Yes.
Okay. So the Can Buster, if you are unaware, is where I bring something from the Doctor Who canon, something which is rather strange, rather weird, and basically saying this may have happened in an episode, it may have happened in expanded media. Let's face it, usually is expanded media. And even though it's strange, we have to accept it to be the absolute truth, and it has to be absolute canon. Okay. So Robin.
Mm-hmm.
The Rani, yeah?
Okay.
Yeah, okay. The Rani has just met the one New Who Doctor, yeah?
Okay.
The 15th Doctor, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
You filthy casual, you're wrong. She met the 10th Doctor and Rhodes.
Huh?
In the comic, Untitled, passing by, the 10th Doctor and Rose Tyler saw the creatures escaping from a florist shop and made their way inside. The Doctor was stunned to come across the Rani once more, while she, for her part, readily recognized the Doctor and began to deride the latest regeneration of his, which she described as a scrawny little thing. The Doctor retaliated by finding the fact that the Rani had essentially adopted gardening as a hobby. Utterly adorable. Well, the Doctor formulated a plan and explained it to Rose. The Rani created an antidote for her overpowered fertilizer, curbing the plant monster's aggressive tendencies and shrinking them to a small enough size to fit inside her TARDIS. The Doctor announced this exact same plan as his own idea, only to realize that the Rani had already done it. He was momentarily stunned, but also impressed. As the Rani left the time zone with the tampered plant monsters, the Doctor bid her a fond goodbye. His subsequent outspoken admiration for the Rani's intelligence was shortly followed by an assurance of he just couldn't stand her to a jealous Rose. So, what what I'm saying to you is that in Gridlock, when the face of Bo utters the iconic words of "You are not alone," the doctor said, "Yeah, I met the Rani last week, and Rose was there. Rose, oh, I miss Rose. Oh, Rose, I miss her so much, Rose."
Bo's just like, "I'll get on with it. Move on." But
Yeah, what do you think about that?
That's such a pivotal character that they just throw in like that.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. I don't know how to feel about that.
I'm not
That's so
surprised.
wild.
I'm not surprised in the slightest. Like, comics do weird shit all the
They do.
fucking time.
Like, remember way back when I told you when they made David Cameron into a Sea Devil?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was funny.
Yeah.
And they made Boris Johnson an Auton. Like,
Well, that was the Target novels.
oh yeah, no, that was Russell that did that. Yeah.
That was good. Russell finally doing something good.
Anywho, on that bombshell, I think it's time to unfortunately wrap up the podcast. It's been absolutely fun. I'm excited to see what happens next week. I hope it's not their Empire of Death. I hope it's something great. But
Same.
The red flags are waving. The red flags are there.
The flags of Rani.
The flags of Rani.
I just realised it the moment I said it. It's like the flags of Rassilon. Save that in poster.
No, don't.
No, you're still wrong. You're still wrong.
And
It's
also
the seal of Rassilon, you dimwit.
No, but
yeah,
you
but
know,
there's also the rod of Rassilon.
Exactly.
There's a lot of Rassilon sort of stuff. So the
That's
flags
what I
of
was going for.
Rassilon makes it. The flags of Rani, mate. Are we talking Chandra? Because if I will flare, I'll fry a flag for Rani Chandra all day. Absolutely, love Rani.
I know that usual note from me.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been Jack.
I have been Robin.
I have been Star.
I hope if you're going to see the Reality War in cinemas, you have a great time, you really enjoy it. But apart from that, we're going to go home the long way round. And the only way we can do that is with an awful lot of running. Ta-ra for now.